I'd like to bring this meeting to order. The Village of Villa Park Board of Trustees meeting, January 27th, 2025. Clerk Kornicki, please call the roll.
Trustee Alfano.
Here.
Trustee Cordova.
Here.
Trustee Corkery.
Here.
Trustee Kozar.
Here.
Trustee Kumar. Here. Trustee Patrick.
Here.
President Kazone.
Here. Will you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and then remain standing? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us together this evening. May we have meaningful discussions that will help us to assist our village in these trying times. Help us to make the decisions that will affect the staff, directors, and residents of Villa Park. Guide us through the challenges we face, and may we approach each other with respect and kindness as one group. In your name, amen. Okay, item 3, amendments to the agenda. Do we have any amendments proposed? Okay, seeing none. Public comments on agenda items. Clerk Kornicki, anyone signed up?
Yes, Cheryl Tucker, referring to items 10A and 13B.
Thank you. I'm just kind of excited that you're going to get rid of the fee for the dogs. But I do have a suggestion to this board that it's written that people register the first of the year. I think most people in Villa Park don't know they're supposed to register their dog. So I kind of have a suggestion that maybe you might want to think of doing it the same way we do with the bikes on registering, and bring it out when, you know, we have the bike registration with the police department, that you might want to register your dog too at the same time. Might be something coordinated so that people will understand that, you know, they do need to register their dogs for a good reason, that if their dog gets loose, the police don't know where it's got to go, and this way it helps them out. And by removing that fee, I think people will get more inclined to register their dogs, so I'm really happy to hear you're taking that on the proposal. On 13B, and you're approving that, and my understanding is that the engineering firm is going to do the whole section, but you're splitting into 3 departments, 3 different years on that. Is the funding on that 3 different years being separated too? And is the village paying for it and then being reimbursed? How is that funding kind of working? It's not really clear. And I know as a resident on the thing, if you live on Ardmore, I think they're going to be kind of concerned how you're going to split it up and how it's going to roll from one spot to another to make it fluid on it. So I'm just hoping that there will get some more clarification, either later on how this is done, or how we're going to roll it all together for the public so they can see that they're not going to be blocked off of Ardmore forever, because that is a big thoroughway for a lot of people to get to the train station and other places in the village. And I know a lot of people are a little concerned how we're going to split that up and how it's going to be smooth, so they're not going to be inconvenienced for 3 years, and how that's going to work. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Cheryl.
Okay, you have also, yes, Joe Amore, also about 13B.
Good evening, Joe Amore, 309 East Maple Street. So, first of all, although I am a member of our Bike, Pedestrian, and Transit Subcommittee, so wearing that hat, we are looking forward to the traffic analysis that's referenced in item 4 on page 132 in Civil Tech's paperwork. However, I am going to take that hat off now. I'm not officially here on behalf of them. I was going through the Civil Tech paperwork, and I went through the traffic analysis, and nowhere do I see any mention of the what's going to happen at the Union Pacific crossing. So it even references Terrace Street, which is right there at the crossing, but I do have a reference from the CDM Smith's recommendations from the grade separation feasibility study, and they are recommendation clearly lists the Ardmore Avenue motorized underpass. Now, at what point will one factor into the other? Especially when you have a 4-lane roadway starting at North Avenue that tapers down to 1 lane in each direction. Once that underpass is built, if it is built there, you're going to have increased traffic or unobstructed travel between North Avenue and St. Charles Road and beyond. So I would recommend, if this study is going to include a grade separation feasibility study, that Civil Tech needs to start doing traffic counts on Villa Avenue to see what the counts on that is, so that you can have that as a reference point when that traffic moves over to Ardmore, once, if an underpass is built there. Also, I noticed that in the listing on page 146, where it shows agency coordination, 17D says ICC and railroad coordination meetings. Personally, I think that needs to be elevated. Nothing is going to get done without cooperation from the railroad. And funding's not going to be realized without involving ICC right from the beginning. So those are my two. I've made copies of those papers that I referenced. And once again, I'm not here in that regard. That's my personal opinion. My personal opinion of being 40 years working as a Metro conductor, working freight trains and Metro trains throughout Illinois and Wisconsin. I volunteered through the Metro systems doing their safety blitz, and I've been a presenter for the DuPage Rail Safety Council. I know what grade separation used to cost, and guarantee they're going to cost much more today. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Joe. Okay,
I have no one else signed up.
anyone else? Public comments on agenda items? Okay, item 5, public comments on non-agenda items.
Yes, Reed Goodrich would like to speak on speaking.
Last week, I couldn't hear part of the proceedings about Hawthorne, and, and I said so. The speaker was able to read the resolutions, but not so much during the Hawthorne commentary. The response from law enforcement to my comment was a gruff. It seemed to be meant to keep me quiet. There was also another comment about moving up. I'm pretty sure the Open Meetings Act has a part about the audience ability to hear the proceedings. I'm on a public board, and we meet in a room that's 4 times larger than this, the room that we're in now, and our people can hear. The one time that we heard a comment from the back during a full house, we didn't shout him down, we didn't ask him to move. Our speaker repeated what he said clearly and louder and closer to the mic. Could you do as much? I'm grateful to Mr. Patrick and Mr. Cordova, who after the proceedings explained to me what was going on.
Okay, thank you. Okay, anyone else? Public comments on non-agenda
Yes,
items.
Judy Worley want to speak on 625 East Van Buren.
Yeah, hi. Judy Worley, 625 East Van Buren Street. We still have 3 pristine acres in Villa Park, not far off of the frontage road for Route 83. I wanted to correct a little bit of false information that seems to be out there that we have a pond on the 3 acres. We do not have a pond. It's currently wooded, but available for development for someone that sees the potential. I still see townhomes on the property and something, you can walk to Walmart. The intersection there at Riverside is being upgraded, so to make it a little easier, I think, to get in and out of that space. You do have to go up to Washington and down 83, but nevertheless, just wanted to let everybody know that we still have that available. And Susan Silver at Millennium Properties is still our Realtor, and her number is 312-338-3001 for a developer that sees the potential. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, Joe Amore, again, wants to speak on 309 East Maple.
I'd like to circle back to the grade separation feasibility study. I was going through their paperwork, and for the Villa Avenue non-motorized underpass, I believe their recommendations are wrong. They right now are recommending a bore on the west side of the Villa Avenue, when clearly the east side is the preferred option. When you factor in the availability of the village-maintained property north of the Canadian National Tracks between Thomas and Second, the possibility that you can eliminate not having to trail users on the Salt Creek Greenway Trail would not have to cross Villa twice to get over and then back again to access the trail. That would require a lot of cooperation with Elmhurst, but you guys are already cooperating with Elmhurst on the Villa Avenue Improvement Project between North Avenue and St. Charles. And I also don't agree with their recommendations for a non-motorized underpass at Ardmore Avenue and the Metro Station. They recommend eliminating the crossing at the east end, which I agree with, but the bore should be straight through there when you have the elevation without having to create ADA compliant ramps that switch back and forth to get them to the required elevation or down below grade. If you move it a little bit farther east, people aren't going to mind walking that little bit farther east, because a lot of parking is east of that crossing anyway, within both sides of the train station lot. So again, I've made copies of these, and this is, again, falling back to my experience of seeing hundreds of stations throughout the metro systems and underpasses and overpasses on many of my almost 40 years on the railroad. Thank you so much.
Okay, thanks, Joe.
I have no one else.
Anyone else? Anyone else? Public comments on non-agenda items? Okay, there are no proclamations tonight. Item 7A is a presentation by Lauterbach and Ammon on the 2023 audit. Mr. Harline.
Yes, the Lauterbach and Amon are here to make their presentation on the consolidated financial report, the annual consolidated financial report or audit for the village for 2023. And Chuck Howard will introduce the staff from Lauterbach and Amon and anything else he wants to add to proceed that.
Not adding too much. As we go into our audit cycle for 2024 and the planning with Lauterbach, we're looking forward to that. We are going to have it in our new system, and that's going to make this process, I think, more efficient. But to go over the 2023, I've got Monica Adamski, and she can talk about that, and then we can move forward. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Monica Adamski. I am a principal at Lauterbach and Amon. I'm going to briefly walk you through 3 pieces of required communications that we have published in regards to the December 2023 audit. First, I wanted to say thank you to the board for having me today. I also wanted to thank Matt, Chuck, and Rana for all their help. An audit does require a great deal of additional time and burden outside of the scope of their everyday duties, so I wanted to say thank you to them. We did have a seamless line of communication. Everything requested we received in a timely manner to get this audit completed. The first item I will talk about is the SAS 114 letter that was published in the audit package. Ultimately, that letter is required to state whether we had any difficulties or disagreements working with management. So happy to report we did not have any of those, and you'll see that in the body of that letter. Also is a management letter that ultimately is required by us just to give any upcoming GASB pronouncements, any feedback in terms of policies to change or procedures. So you'll find those in the audit package as well. The audit itself, I'm not sure if you have a copy in front of you. I will start off by saying on page 3 to 6 is a transmittal letter. That's ultimately a letter from the finance director explaining everything that happened within the fiscal year. Talks about status on goals as well as accomplishments and financial direction for the future. Next is the audit report. Ultimately, that letter states that management is responsible to prepare the financial statements, and then it's our duty as the auditors to generate an opinion. So very happy to report that the village did receive an unmodified opinion. That is the highest level of assurance that we can give that the financial statements are free of material misstatements. Next within the audit report is the management discussion and analysis. This is a great narrative summary of fiscal financial highlights. We always recommend that the board read this at their leisure as, and again, it's very high level of everything that happened within the fiscal year, and it does include charts and graphs, so definitely a lot easier to read. And then next, for the fun part, the fund level income statement item. So ultimately, this is what the village budgets for on an annual basis. So the general fund, just to give you a very high level, had an excess of revenues of 5.9 million, net change of 5.2, very healthy fund balance of 19.9 million at the end of the year. And that kind of goes across the board. Street Improvement Fund had a deficit, however, that you can see is represented by a lot of capital projects that you guys have going on, and I can hear with other comments. So again, a healthy fund balance at year end of 9.8 million. Capital projects, same thing, deficit, but it has a very healthy fund balance at the end of the year, but it's explained by the capital projects going on. Any questions? Okay. Just high level for business type funds, which are your water and sewer funds as well. Healthy fund balances, all positive at year end. And after that is just the notes to the financial statements that have more detailed information as to capital assets, long-term debt, and IMRF, OPEB information as well.
Any questions from the board? Trustee O'Connell?
Yes, I'm wondering why we don't have a copy of the audit report so we can follow along. Is there a copy?
Well, we sent you an electronic copy, and I just re-forwarded it to you, but when we put in the order for the number of hard copies, it was too late to get them printed for tonight. But you're looking for a hard copy?
Yes.
Okay, make sure you get one. I think we asked to get one printed for every member of the board, and then a couple of extras for.
Did they not come in?
We did, but just in general, audit reports have come in groups of a dozen or so, and we're really just trying to be conservative with the number of hard copies because everybody's working on it these days. At your request, we can certainly get them published, and we can get them, I think, they take 2 to 3 days or so.
Yeah.
If you want to just shoot us an email, how many you need, and we can.
Okay.
No, so we can,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
And just to say out loud, circling to that, once you do go through it, if you have questions, you can email us.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Yeah, go ahead. Trustee O'Connell?
So that was addressed at our last meeting, and I know that you had said if we didn't want one to let you know. So
Right.
I'm
So
not-
I
I'm
thought
just-
I thought that was, I apologize.
My confusion is that we didn't have it, so.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There was a miscommunication between me and Chuck.
Trustee Kumar?
Well, I just want a hard copy.
Oh, okay. Trustee Kozar?
Manager Harline, when did you send that out originally? I'm looking for it. I don't see the original.
I believe I sent it on the 30th, but let me double check, because that's when we got it in. Sent it very shortly after we received it.
December 30th?
Yeah. With the other letters as well.
Is it an attachment or a link?
It's an attachment.
It was January 15th.
Was it January
the one?
15th?
It was a December 26th letter.
Yeah, it was,
Sorry.
yeah, you got it. January 15th, the final PDFs for the Village of Villa Park. And it's the first attachment. Yeah.
January 15th from Manager Harline?
Yeah.
Let me check to see that I'm on that.
One on top left.
Don't have anything. January 15th. Can you check to see if I'm on that one? Which I don't have anything from January 15th, but I'll double check. Yeah, I'll check. Nope, there it is.
Okay, everybody got that?
Okay, any other questions? Okay. Thanks, Monica. Appreciate
you.
your time. Thank you. Okay, item 8A is an appointment of Kimberly Tuttle as Commissioner of the Community Fund Commission for a term upon being sworn in until April 30th, 2026. Do we have a motion for the appointment? Trustee Patrick?
Mr. President, I'd like to make that motion.
Do we have a second? Trustee Alfano?
I'll second.
Okay, questions or comments? Trustee Kumar?
Thank you for whoever's joining the Fund Commission. I'm very happy that, we're filling those empty spaces within our commissions. You are very valuable to us in Villa Park. That's it.
Thanks. Okay. Trustee Alfano?
Yes, I would like to reiterate that as well, and I know that this is one of the things that's important with what the Fund Commission does is we kind of have this outreach where when you are a part of something that the Fund Commission does and you either win an award or you have this conversation with some of the commissioners, you do start to establish this relationship, and it is about getting to know your neighbors. And so with Ms. Tuttle joining, that's kind of what happened here, and I thought that was really cool. So I want to thank Ms. Tuttle for joining, and we look forward to what she will bring.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Kumar?
I also, just a little piggyback, we just finished the strategic plan, and part of it is reaching out, and this is the process that we've started with the, as a board, and this, reaching out is part of, to the commissions, having them advocate and get other people on board is part of the whole process and part of what we wanted to do, and so we are also doing that as a board as part of the strategic plan initiatives.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else? Okay, Clerk Konecki, please.
Okay, Trustee Corkery,
Yes.
Trustee Kozar,
Yes.
Trustee Kumar,
Yes.
Trustee Cordova.
Yes.
Trustee Patrick.
Yes.
Trustee Alfano.
Yes.
President Casone.
Yes. Okay, item 9, consent agenda. Bill listings for the week of January 13th, 2025, in the amount of $419,728.70, and January 20th, 2025, in the amount of $255,289.57, and $506,364.26. And item 9B is approval of the minutes of the Village Board of Trustees meeting held on January 13th, 2025. Do we have a motion for the consent agenda?
I'll make that motion.
Trustee Cordova, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Trustee Corkery, questions or comments? Okay, Clerk Konecki, please.
Trustee Patrick.
Yes.
Trustee Kumar.
Yes.
Trustee Cordova.
Yes.
Trustee Alfano.
Yes.
Trustee Kozar.
Yes.
Trustee Corkery.
Yes.
President Casone.
Yes. Okay, item 10A is an ordinance for a first reading. An ordinance adopting amendments to Chapter 5 of the Villa Park Municipal Code in order to remove fees and amend other regulations related to dog licenses. Manager Harline.
Yes, this ordinance amends, as the President mentioned, Section 5-205 of the Villa Park Municipal Code to remove the subsection, eliminate the annual license fee of $4. Staff recommends passage of the ordinance. It does not, it will still require licensing through the VPPD. We do want to keep track of how many animals each person has. We also want to make sure and cooperate with DuPage County in making sure that people are getting rabies vaccinations. There is still a license fee with the county that you are mandated to have for your dog, or actually the county includes cats. But our $4 fee was more of a hassle for residents. We raised about $300 a year. Director of Community Economic Development, Mark McLaughlin, and Police Chief Mike Rivas are here to answer any questions about how this will affect our program to make sure that animals are licensed so that they're easily returned to residents if they're found. And anyway, if you have any questions, they're here.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so this is a first reading, conversation only unless someone wants to waive the first reading. Trustee Cordova.
I'll make a motion to waive the first meeting, or reading.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. Trustee Kumar? Okay, questions or comments on waiving the first reading? Okay, Clerk Konecki, please.
Okay, trustee Kozar,
Yes.
trustee Corkery,
Yes.
trustee Patrick.
Yes.
Trustee Alfano,
Yes.
trustee Cordova.
Yes.
Trustee Corkery.
No,
Say Corkery already? I'm sorry. Who did I miss?
Me.
Kumar. Sorry. Trustee Kumar.
Yes.
And President Kazal.
yes. Okay, so we waived the first reading. We have a motion for the ordinance.
Make a motion.
Trustee Cordova, we have a second. Trustee Kumar. Questions or comments on the ordinance? Trustee Kumar.
I am happy that you are waiving that fee. Can we just speak to the residents about the process of registering their dog, please?
Well, good evening. Thank you for the question. First and foremost, they can just come to the police department. We're a 24/7 operation. We also have weekends open, so they can come and register their dog. They'll need all the information that's included in the registration form, a rabies vaccination number that you'll get from the county, as well as name, address. We'll take a picture of the dog as well, and because the purpose of that is if the dog goes missing, we can then return the dog, because if we can't identify who the owner is, we're forced to take the dog out to Wheaton, and then there would be an inconvenience then for the homeowners to go bring, money to go out to county to go get the dog. So we're just trying to save all that by having them register, and we can't stress it enough. Please register the dogs you do have at home.
So is there any online way of registering the dog?
I believe we do. I'd have to double check that. I don't want to talk out of turn, but I believe we do in our frontline system. But I can double check that and get back to you.
I think that will make it more effective, or we should process that in the future in some way. I don't know if there are safety concerns with that or security issues with the dog, so I will let you as the police chief weigh in on the proper process, but I think that would make it easier for people and more likely for people to register the dog.
Understood.
Yeah.
Trustee Alfano.
Thank you. Just to clarify, this is in tandem with the chip, correct? So if the dog is chipped or if the animal is chipped?
That's additional information we would put into the registry.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Trustee Kozar.
Is there a penalty if they don't register their dog?
There is no penalty, because if there's no fee, why would there be a penalty? So it would be a bonus, like we said, just to identify the dog and be helpful to everyone involved. By doing that, so please, like I said, we'll register whatever pet you have, dog, as well as take a picture so we can then identify. And you'll see a lot of our Facebook posts that we'll have where, does anyone know this dog? And so we're trying to avoid that.
There is at the county level, but they're rarely, and I mean, that's not, their goal is to get you to comply, and that's the same, what we're trying to work on, but there are fees on the books if you aren't compliant at the county level, but not at the municipal level.
Right, we will not be enforcing that.
You're right.
Okay. Any other questions? Hey, Clerk Konecki, please.
Okay, trustee Corkery,
Yes.
trustee Patrick,
Yes.
trustee Alfano,
Yes.
trustee Cordova.
Yeah.
Trustee Kumar.
Yes.
Trustee Kozar.
Yes.
President Kazal.
Yes. Okay, item 10B is an ordinance amending Chapter 14 of the Villa Park Municipal Code regarding fleeing and eluding motor vehicles in the Village of Villa Park, Illinois. Manager Harline.
This ordinance, if adopted, will reduce the administrative fee associated with a citation issued to the registered owner of a motor vehicle that was driven while committing the criminal offense of fleeing or attempting to elude a police officer in the Village of Villa Park. The ordinance also establishes an additional due process procedures related to the administration and an imposition of the administration of fees. Staff recommends approval of the ordinance.
Okay, thank you. Again, this is for discussion only unless someone wants to waive the first reading. Trustee Cordova.
I'll make a motion to waive that first reading.
Okay, we have a second on that? Second on waiving the first reading. Trustee Kumar. Okay, questions or comments on waiving the ordinance? Okay, Clerk Kornacki, please.
Okay, Trustee Patrick?
Yes.
Trustee Alfano?
No.
Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
Trustee Corkery?
No.
Trustee Cordova?
Yes.
Trustee Kumar?
Yes.
President Kazone?
Yes. Okay, so we will waive the first reading. We have a motion on the ordinance itself.
I'll make the
Trustee
motion.
Corkery?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, Trustee Cordova, second? Okay. Any questions or comments on the ordinance itself? Trustee Alfano.
Thank you. I do have a question that came in from a couple of residents, just to make it clear, because the recommendation sounds like we are not asking for any fees from anybody who may violate this, but we are, in fact, issuing like a citation that would incur fees, correct?
We send out a fee, yes.
Okay.
When we have a violation of the fleeing and eluding ordinance, and we have a couple different avenues. We can go ahead and charge a state charge or a felony, and with review by the state attorney's office, or we can go and issue a civil fee, for this ordinance, and it's the onus is on the owner of the vehicle. Then when we send that fee to the registered owner's address.
Thank you.
Any other? Trustee Kozar.
So all we're really doing is moving it from 900 down to 750 because we have to comply because we're non-home rule. So it's not really like we're giving a discount. We just have to comply with what the law requires.
That is
Isn't
correct, sir.
Accurate?
That is correct.
Because if it were up to me, I mean, I'd put that fine through the roof.
Right.
Nobody should be eluding the police, but our hands are tied. So the purpose of this whole thing is just to comply with the state law.
Sure.
And in addition, there is, because this is an administrative fee as opposed to a fine, it was just recommended because we go through our administrative adjudication process to actually perfect the completion of this citation, that we reduced it to be in line with that $750 amount, although this is deemed an administrative fee still, but it is being reduced. In addition, the process has been clarified that all of these citations will go through the administrative adjudication process ultimately before a final determination is made.
Correct. The
Yes.
owner of the vehicle would have their due process at the administrative hearing to hear what their reasons were for that vehicle being used in the manner it was.
There's several levels of due process regarding this administrative fee, first at the chief level, and then ultimately before it's issued for processing of the fee, it will go through administrative adjudication, which it has been doing. So our ordinance now clarifies that.
As well, an appeal process after the administrative hearing officer has issued a judgment.
That's right.
Okay. Trustee Corkery.
I'll just say for the record that I thought the original code change was excessive, and I'm glad to see more due process and a smaller amount, even if it's only for state law compliance reasons.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else? Okay, Clerk Kornacki, please.
Okay, Trustee Kumar?
Yes.
Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
Trustee Cordova?
Yes.
Trustee Alfano?
Yes.
Trustee Patrick?
Yes.
Trustee Corkery?
Yes.
President Kazone?
Yes. Okay, we have no second readings today. Item 12 is an ordinance repealing ordinance 4229 and rescinding the special use for a planned unit development at 351 through 415 North Ardmore Avenue, 350 to 416 North Beverly Avenue, and 403 to 409 North Beverly Avenue, Hawthorne Development Corporation. Manager Harline.
This ordinance will rescind ordinance 4229 for special use for the project known as Ecoterra or Garden Station. Staff recommends passage of the ordinance. This simply rescinds, makes it clear that we have rescind the special use for that project.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Corkery? I'm sorry, Trustee Cordova.
I'll make that motion.
All right, thanks. We have a second? Trustee Corkery? Got that thing. Okay, questions or comments on the ordinance? So just for the public's knowledge, the PUD was only for 3 years, and that was well past it as of January 6th. So we just have to clean up the ordinance, get rid of it, and anyone wants to develop it, they'll have to come back and go through the whole process again. Okay, any other questions? Clerk Rennicki, please.
Okay, Trustee Alfano,
Yes.
Trustee Patrick,
Yes.
Trustee Kumar,
Yes.
Trustee Corkery,
Yes.
Trustee Kozar,
Yes.
Trustee Cordova,
Yes.
President Kazone.
Yes. Item 13A is a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, approving the final change order number 1, final, to the contract with A-Lamp Concrete Contractors, Inc. of Schaumburg, Illinois, for construction of the Wisconsin Avenue Improvement Project, Vermont to Stone, for a net deduction in the amount of $71,362.20. Manager Harline.
This resolution authorizes the village manager to execute the change order in substantially the form attached here to the contract with A-Lamp Concrete Contractors of Schaumburg, Illinois. The village has a contract with A-Lamp in the amount of $698,174.75 for the construction of Wisconsin Avenue Improvement Project from Vermont to Stone. Proposed final change order number 1 consists of the final balancing of contract quantities as measured in the field. The net amount of the proposed final change order number 1 is a deduction in the amount of $71,362.20 for an adjusted contract amount of $626,812.55. Staff recommends approval of the ordinance of the resolution, and Public Works Director Michael Guerra is here if you have any questions. And it's nice to have that project done.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, do we have a motion? Trustee Patrick?
Mr. President, I'd like to make that motion.
Okay, do we have a second? Trustee Alfano?
A second.
Any questions or comments? As usual, we always like to see deductions on change orders. It's always a good thing. Okay. Clerk Rennicki, please.
Okay, Trustee Cordova,
Yes.
Trustee Corkery,
Yes.
Trustee Kozar,
Yes.
Trustee Kumar,
Yes.
Trustee Patrick,
Yes.
Trustee Alfano,
Yes.
President Kazone.
Yes. Item 13B is a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, approving an engineering services agreement with Civil Tech Engineering, Inc. of Itasca, Illinois, for professional civil engineering services for the Ardmore Avenue Improvement Project, Phase 1, in an amount not to exceed $811,804. Manager Harline.
This is a resolution to authorize the village president to enter into a professional engineering agreement with Civil Tech Engineering, Inc. for the Phase 1 preliminary engineering services for Ardmore Avenue Improvement Project in the amount not to exceed $811,804. The Ardmore Avenue Improvement Project is a proposed improvement of the roadway from Roosevelt Road, Illinois Route 38, to North Avenue, Illinois Route 64, with anticipated construction beginning in 2026 in 3 phases. That would be the first phase. Staff recommends approval, and I'd ask when it's appropriate, Director Guerra there's some previous questions, but to sort of address how this engineering part will go along with the rest of the project and the funding mechanisms.
Okay, we have to do a motion first.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. Okay, do we have a motion for the resolution? Trustee Patrick?
Mr. President, I'd like to make that motion.
Okay, do we have a second? Trustee Kumar?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, to kind of maybe explain this a little bit further, the village received what's called Surface Transportation Program funding, which is federal funding through the local MPO. We're a sub-branch of the DMMC, DuPage Mayors and Managers Conference, out of CMAP. So that money facilitates from the feds down to CMAP, down to DuPage Mayors and Managers Conference that we receive funding. We received funding in 3 segments over 3 years. Those segments are Madison to St. Charles, with construction funding in 2026, construction funding in 2027 from North Avenues to St. Charles, and then the last component of Illinois 83 to Madison in 2028. This money is funneled through IDOT, so we have to follow all the IDOT procedures, which includes a Phase 1. With this project, what we ended up doing is asking IDOT to combine the Phase 1 for all 3 segments into one to look at some efficiencies due to the fact that it will be overlapped with survey, overlapped with environmental studies. And then additionally, we've had a lot of comments received, specifically a lot of locations along Ardmore. And so we'd like to have a comprehensive review and preliminary design for the whole phase. A lot of this includes inclusion for bike and pedestrian enhancements, specifically at the intersections of St. Charles and Ardmore. At the Lufkin Pool, there's been a lot of discussions about potentially a crosswalk there, a route. So we've upped a lot of our data collection. I think Mr. Amore kind of referenced that in this, to do a lot more traffic studies throughout the corridor. So this one is a little bit bigger, but what it is we're looking at all 3 phases. Normally, we would have to do a Phase 1 on each segment, and then design on each segment, and then construction on each segment. We're just combining all that Phase 1 into one study, and it's already been pre-approved by IDOT to do this. In terms of the funding through STP is only for construction and Phase 3 engineering, so all the engineering, your Phase 1, your Phase 2, your design engineering, is locally funded. So we have to foot the bill on that to receive the construction funding. So that's how it is designed. So this Phase 1, we'll look at the whole corridor. We'll get what's called a preliminary design report. We'll have, believe at least 2, if not 3, public input meetings to gather input on how to, some of the concerns. But then when we go to construct, we have to go back to the IDOT schedule segments to be constructed. So the construction from Madison to St. Charles will take place in 2026, early 27 probably. And then the next segments will follow each fiscal year after that. So then it'll be rolled down, or actually we kind of start in the middle, then jump to the north, and then jump back to the south. Unfortunately, that's just how we got awarded the funding from the DMMC. We did inquire about can we reverse it and kind of just travel from north to south, but that was going to be a lot of extensive work and red tape, and maybe not possible with the funding sources. So unfortunately, we'll do middle first and then each end when it comes about. Hopefully that's kind of an overview, but I can answer more specific questions.
Are they planning on shutting down Ardmore and then rerouting? Or is it going to be done, they'll let traffic through?
Right now, this is all Phase 1. That will be determined in the Phase 1. Would be coming up with traffic plan and construction coordination and sequencing. Ideally, we don't like to shut down any roads, but we'll have to see when we actually get into it. This is all coming up with the preliminary phasing and the sequencing.
Okay.
But I would say the size of that road, ideally, no. We'll probably be constructing, and majority of it's wide enough that we'll probably push traffic over. It'd be narrow lanes while they fix the curbs, bike lanes, those sort of things, construct them, and then paving operations throughout the day.
Trustee Kumar.
Public input meetings on this are going to take place for all 3 of the corridors, is that correct? Or are they going to be the middle first, the input is about that, and the separate?
The public meetings would be for the entire corridor.
And
That'll be included in this Phase 1, so it'll be the entire corridor from north to
Okay,
end.
so, and then that would be listed and sent to everybody who is on that corridor, and how will they know they should be there?
Yes, we could send letters. Normally, we'll post it publicly on Facebook, website, those sort of announcements to try to make it known. I know everybody pestered Jay to maybe utilize the VPRC and the multipurpose rooms now that we have that nice meeting location. But we'll disseminate that when we get to it. How we've set it up, or how I like to set it up, is one public input meeting before we really do a whole lot of engineering. So we'll probably look at one here fairly early this spring, just to get initial concerns and comments along the corridor, and then one later as we actually have done some engineering to incorporate some of those comments the best we can.
Go ahead, trustee Coomer.
As that is like a very central hub for us in Villa Park, and there's a lot of things like Lufkin on that same roadway, as you said, and we, the libraries, there, a lot of stuff is in that area. For us, I would like to get, know earlier as a trustee when those meetings are, so I can get that information out in any way or possible and share it with the public in this particular roadway, which is central. It would be like anything you did on Villa as well. I would probably do the same, yeah. It's very central to our town, so.
If this gets approved tonight, we'll have a kickoff meeting with the consultant, and we'll get those, at least the first ones, kind of outlined a little bit further and more firmed up.
Trustee Alfano.
Thank you. I know that you had mentioned, and you just touched on the bike and pedestrian enhancements, and I know there was some discussion about right over by Lufkin Park and about the intersection over here at St. Charles and Ardmore, but I think that it should be noted that there are a lot of people on the south end of town that would like to have a way to get to the train station where they don't have to drive. And I think that we should keep that in mind as we continue those discussions and plan, and I think this is one of the ways that we can do that since we don't have a trail.
Yes, so yeah, that is part of the enhancements and part of our STP funding is to create bike-friendly facilities. I think we'll rely heavily a lot on the public input specifically for those. As you look through the corridor, it kind of is wide and then very narrow in some spots and wide. So what is the public comfortable with in terms of on-road, off-road? Especially we get around the Illinois Parade Path, we have on-street parking. How do we accommodate? So some of the ideas might look differently, so that's probably why I wanted a little bit more public input to start getting those ideas out. And I should mention, yeah, we do have enhanced more than normal traffic counts and studies included in this, specifically to look at St. Charles and some of the timing with the lighted intersections and enhancements that we can do with those lights. Then specifically, traffic and safety's had a lot of concerns about the Lufkin Park, so we do have additional studies. We're using the technology with videos. The videos are, you might see a lot of cameras up there in the upcoming months, more around April, May. So there'll be a lot kind of concentrated there because those videos can also pick up pedestrians, bicyclists, people crossing the roads, those sort of items. So that is targeted specifically in the scope to be done late May, so that we still have school in session for the high school and then the park being utilized, be it hopefully nice weather. We'll try to target around those timeframes to get an accurate picture of maybe how that area will facilitate during the busiest times of late spring, early fall sort of scenarios where school in session and the park is in. So we do have those, but yes.
Sure.
We recognize as the engineering staff that they try to install and facilitate the bike facilities. It might be a combination of things as we go through, so we'll rely heavily on public input.
I appreciate that. I know that there are just adults that want to get to the train and don't always want to drive there too, so, thank you.
Trustee Kumar.
I just want to thank Public Works for their forward thinking and on this kind of project, which is important to our town. I like the fact that there's public input meetings. I like the fact that you thought about cost savings across the way by putting all three of the first stages together. Kudos to you on all you've done with that as well. We should be proud of our town and how it's thinking now.
Any other questions? Clerk Nicky, please.
Okay, trustee Kozar?
Yes.
Trustee Kumar?
Yes.
Trustee Patrick?
Yes.
Trustee Corkery?
Yes.
Trustee Cordova?
Yes.
Trustee Alfano?
Yes.
President Casone?
Yes. Okay. Item 14, unfinished business. Do we have anyone with unfinished business? Do we have any new business?
I do have something.
Trustee
I'd like to
Alfano.
add. So I don't know if we, as a village, have an AI policy in place. I know that when I went to the IML convention, that was something that was kind of a hot topic regarding our current AI landscape in municipalities with resident services and the FOIA process and public safety. And I know that we've used that in infrastructure management. I don't know if we have any AI policy though, and I'm just curious to find out where we are in that, if that's something we want to have a discussion about, if we want to have a cow about that. I don't know what anybody else on the board feels about that. But that was just something that
Manager Harlan.
We do not have currently an AI policy for the use by staff or, the sharing through our website or anything like that at this point. We're always looking for topics if you would like. I know we have February covered. I'd like a little bit more definition of what, you'd like to see with that, and we'll probably take a minute to.
Sure, I have a contact that I can give you, the person who actually ran the session.
Well, more, what are you looking for as a board to have us answer? Because AI is.
I mean, it's very broad, but.
Yes. Yes.
Well, the person who was running the session had talked about how it's really important that if we are using AI, that it is correct. Like if we have it on our website. Sure. That it is giving people the correct information, right? And I know that we may have disclaimers, but that doesn't mean that people aren't going to, like, in a quick situation, not an emergency situation, but if they're looking like, how do I get this permit? They're not just going to follow whatever AI thing we might have on our
I understand what you're saying,
search engine. Or like for FOIAs, do we know that people who are coming and like asking for FOIAs are actual real people? I don't know how any of those, that was something that they had mentioned as well. So I just wanted to know where are the, where are we standing on those policies currently? And what does that landscape look like for us? And what should that look like for us in the future?
Okay.
Just a discussion, it's not.
Trustee Kumar.
I think we should definitely have that discussion, and we should craft some policy. AI is becoming a very large part of our world today, and people search all the time, and they get their information from AI. And then at least have disclaimers. I would want legal counsel to weigh in on what we should do with respect to AI to a certain extent as well, because there could be legalities involved, so.
Okay. Anyone else? New business? Okay, item 16 is acceptance of the minutes of the Parks and Recreation Advisory Commission held on November 12th, 2024, and December 10th, 2024, and acceptance of the minutes of the Environmental Concerns Commission meeting held on November 21st, 2024, and all of those items are in our packet tonight. Item 17, Village Clerk's Report.
No report.
Okay.
Thank you.
Village Trustees Report, we will start on my right. Trustee Patrick.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. I just wanted to remind our residents that if you haven't visited our new recreation facility, to go check it out. It is a great new amenity that we have here in town. My wife and I, we are frequent visitors. We use the walking track upstairs in the gym quite frequently. And it's actually really refreshing that every time that we've been in there, the space is being utilized. There's always people in there. It is a nice addition to our village, so please go check that out. Lastly, just thank you to our first responders, our police department, our fire department for keeping us safe here. Thank you.
Okay. Trustee Cordova.
No, no report today.
Okay. Trustee Kozar.
No report.
Trustee Alfano.
Just wanted to remind everybody, if you are in need of any assistance, it's 211 DuPage is what you would look for, or text. I also wanted to bring to Manager Harline's attention that there was some discrepancy. We did have somebody who was looking for a warming facility in Villa Park recently on Martin Luther King Day when the library was closed, and when they called 211, there were no warming facilities listed for DuPage, or for Villa Park in DuPage County. So we just want to make sure that that's clarified. I'm not sure who that contact would be at DuPage, but we want to make sure that the accurate information is there. But that is where you would want to call if you are in need of any assistance.
I'd like
Yeah,
if Police Chief Rivas could kind of respond
Right, we were made aware of that concern, and then we notified DUCOM to correct that.
Great.
And in the future, we will always have to let DUCOM know, yes, we are a warming facility or, someplace to cool off in the hot weather.
Okay. Is that something that is triggered by a temperature?
Yes.
Or, okay.
Oh, absolutely.
It's not a tremendously comfortable spot, but it's better than being outside when it's
Oh, yeah. It was cold.
minus 8 degrees. So, yeah, but there's no sleeping spot, but our police station is open
Yes.
for people who need that.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Trustee Kumar.
Yes, just a couple of things. I really want to give a shout out to Public Works, who was out near my house on Julia, fixing in the middle of the coldest day some pipes that are broken, and they've been out considerably. It's been really bad weather, and they're out working 24/7 in very cold weather, and thanks for that. And also want to remind you guys, now that we have made it free to register dog, remember your dogs are important, their family. Come into the police department, register your dog, take pictures. Let's keep them safe. Let's make it easy for them to be found. I know how passionate Villa Park residents are about their family members who are dogs. So please go ahead and avail yourself of that, considerate aspect that we have to register your dog.
And get them registered to the county and get your
And-
rabies shots too.
Yeah, and get them registered at the county. Well, if you come in, they're probably gonna tell you, you need to get your rabies shots and registered at the county.
Yep.
Safety for all, including the dogs who are part of our Villa Park family.
Yep.
Okay. Trustee Corkery.
No report this week.
Okay. Move on to the President's report. Our State Senator Gloria Hilton and our State Rep Diane Blair Sherlock had a kind of greet and meet last Saturday at the Funky Java Coffee House. Had a really nice turnout. Several residents and some good questions. And the nice thing about both of those, both people are very much open and out there, and if you have questions, they'll answer them as best they can, and if they can't answer them, they'll get you the answer. So it was a real nice event there, and they do that periodically, a couple times a year. Coffee with the board is this Saturday, February 1st, 9 o'clock up here, and I will not be there. I have a DuPage Managers and Mayor coffee with the other mayors in our town, so we can discuss what's going on in the local communities. All right, we'll go to the village manager's report.
Just 3 quick items. First of all, we'll be holding a mitigation meeting about the building on 100 South Villa on Tuesday, February 18th at 6 p.m. at the Villa Park Recreation Center Multi-Purpose Room, VPRC. This mitigation meeting is to discuss the negative effects that the Union project would have on that building, which would be demolished. So we're required by the State Historical Preservation Office, and we're required to invite. It's Tuesday, February 18th at 6 p.m. You will also be able to learn a little bit about the Union project at that meeting as well. I'll be going to the SGR Servant Leadership Conference this Thursday and Friday, which one of the topics there is AI. So I'll hope to bring some information back. And actually, I only had those 2 items because anyway, that's it. So thank you very much, and I appreciate the comments about all the staff and what they do, first responders, the Public Works, everybody. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, item 21A, pursuant to 5 ILCS 120/2C1, appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the public body or legal counsel for the public body, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee of the public body or against legal counsel for the public body to determine its validity. Do we have a motion to go into executive session, and then we will adjourn our meeting out of executive session? Trustee Patrick.
Mr. President, I'd like to make that motion.
Okay, do we have a second? Trustee Alfano?
I'll make second.
Any questions or comments? Hey, Clerk Kornecki.
Okay, trustee Cordova,
Yes.
trustee Kumar,
Yes.
Trustee Patrick?
Yes.
Trustee Corkery?
Yes.
Trustee Kozar?
Yes.
Trustee Alfano?
Yes.
President Casson?
Yes. So we will go into executive session, and we will adjourn out of there. We'll be back here on February 10th at 6 o'clock for a COW meeting. Everyone have a good week.